Shalom, 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 Israel. I hope that all Israelites had a good and prosperous week. And I'm overjoyed to be teaching another Sabbath class. It is a must that we as Hebrew Israelites go back to the Sabbath and come back to our covenant with our forefathers had with the Most High. All praises to the Lord of hosts and to his counselor Yahweh. The purpose of this channel is to expose the New Testament and his idol, Jesus Christ, and exalt the strong one, the Redeemer of the Old Testament, Tanakh, the El of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Michael El, the strong one of Israel, the great prince, Daniel 12, verse 1. Okay, my fellow Hebrew Israelites, I often say that the Old Testament is a major blockbuster movie, and Jesus Christ was brought in the middle of the movie and asked the question, what's going on? So with that being said, I'm going to say a little prayer for guidance during this Sabbath class. And I'm praying that Most High rightly divide the word, and a prayer for breaking the confusion of faith that has been placed upon us at the house of Jacob, and a prayer for the soon lifting of the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Okay? And with that being said, what I'm doing now is I'm doing part 2 to Wednesday's class, which is Japheth is not Noah's son. And in the part 1, we looked at the fact that we ended with Hadad was a wicked man that was in the book of Joshua, chapter 18. He was a wicked man in Sodom, and unlike in Genesis, in the book of Joshua goes into depth explaining what kind of sins and what kind of activity was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah that made them so wicked. And so made them so wicked. And then we go to 2 Samuel, where Jonadab had Jonadab was another wicked descendant of these same people, and he was dealt with Ammon, and he's the one that Ammon had a crush on his sister Tamar, or David's sister and David's daughter, but he would not act on it. But he had a friend called Jonadab, and Jonadab encouraged him and showed him what to do in order to defile his sister and disgrace the house of David. And so, with that being said, we're gonna moving forward and going into Jeremiah chapter 35. Jeremiah chapter 35 is I'm picking up with this, what's going on with Jeremiah 35 is that it's some the Israelites would not over and over again they keep disobeying the Most High, and the Most High having to punish them. And so where we at now with this is that the Chaldeans, the Babylonians, came into the land of Israel, and the Most High tells Jeremiah to go to these people called the Rechabites. And so I'm gonna pick it up in 35:1, and it's gonna explain to you who these Rechabites are. So I'm gonna start reading. It says Jeremiah 35:1. The word of the Lord which came unto Jeremiah from the Lord in the days of Jehoiakim, the son of Joshua, king of Judah, Josiah, king of Judah, saying, go into the house of the Rechabites, and speak unto them, and bring them into the house of the Lord, into one of the chambers, and give them wine to drink. Then I took Jezaniah, the son of Jeremiah, and the son of Hebeziah, and his brethren, and all his sons, and the whole house of the Rechabites, and I brought them into the house of the Lord, into the chambers of the son of Hannah, the son of Idilah, a man of God, which was by the chamber of the princes, which was above the chamber of Messiah, the son of Shunem, the keeper of the door. And I set before the sons of the house of Rechabites pots full of wine, cups. And I said unto them, drink ye wine. But they said, we will drink no wine. For Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, we shall drink no wine, neither ye nor our sons forever. Neither shall ye build house, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyard, nor have any, but all of your days ye shall dwell in tents, that ye may live many days in the land wherein ye be strangers. Thus we have obeyed the voice of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, in all that we have. He have charged us to drink no wine all our days. We or our wives or our sons nor our daughters, nor to build houses for us to dwell in, neither have we vineyards, nor fields, nor seed. But we dwell in tents and have obeyed and done according to all that Jonadab our fathers commanded us. Okay? And so what we see right here is that when Jeremiah brought these pots of wine and stuff to them to eat, to drink, they refused to drink it. And so what I'm doing right now, I'm shining a light on the fact that why are they not? Why they not drinking wine? And why are they saying all these things they're saying? So if you go back, Genesis chapter 4, verse 10, we see that when that Cain was cursed. And I'm going to read the curse of Cain. And then we're going to do a cross comparison with what these people said in Jeremiah 35. It says, and he said, what hast thou done? Genesis 4 and 10. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from the face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And he said, come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Okay? It says, and the Lord said unto him, henceforth whosoever slept Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest anyone find him shall kill him. So we see right here that all these things right here, that the curse that the Most High put on Cain was that the ground wouldn't give him no, wouldn't yield a strength to him. He's not able to plant no seeds. He's not able to. He's going to be a nomad and a fugitive in the earth. He's gonna never have no permanent place to settle down in. And so when you go back to Jeremiah 35, you see that these people are direct descendants from Cain. And so I'm going to pick it back up in Jeremiah 35 and 4. It says, and I, Jeremiah, brought him into the house of the Lord, into the chamber of the son of Hannah, the son of Idilah, the man of God, which was by the chamber of the princes, which was above the chamber of Massa, the son of Shunem, the keeper of the door. And I set before the sons of the house of Rechabites pots full of wine and cups. And I said unto them, drink ye wine. But they said, we will drink no wine. For Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, ye shall drink no wine, neither ye nor your sons forever. Neither shall ye build houses, nor sow seed, nor plant vineyards, nor have any. But all your days ye shall dwell in tents, that ye may live many days in the land where ye be strangers. And so we see that these are the curses that the Most High pronounced on Cain back in Genesis chapter 4 when he killed his brother. And they've been obedient to their forefathers from that point all the way to now, keeping those laws and those statutes that that their fathers gave them. And so, with that being said, you find out that because of that, the reason the Most High brought them into the house of the Lord was he wanted to prove to the Israelites, which continues to be in disobedience to Him, their purpose. So we're gonna pick that up in verse 13. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, go and tell the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, will ye not receive instructions to hearken to my words, saith the Lord? The words of Jonadab, the son of Rechab, that commanded his sons not to drink wine or perform, for unto this day they drink none, but obey their fathers' commandments, withstanding I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but ye have hearkened not unto me. I have sent also unto you all my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, return ye now every man from his evil way, and amend your doings, and go not after the other gods to serve them, and ye dwell in the land which I have given to you and your fathers, but ye have not inclined your ear, nor hearkened unto me, because the sons of Jonadab, the sons of the Rechabites, have performed the commandments of their father, which he commanded them, but this people have not hearkened unto me. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will bring upon Judah and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil that I have pronounced against them, because I have spoken unto them, but they have not heard, and I have called unto them, but they have not answered. And Jeremiah said unto the house of the Rechabites, this Cain's descendant, we know that now. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, because ye have obeyed the commandments of Jonadab, your father, and all their fathers up unto that point, and kept all his precepts, and done according unto all that he hath commanded you. Therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, God of Israel, Jonadab, the son of Rechab, should not want a man to stand before me forever. So we see right here, because of the Most High respected the fact that these people, even though they was wicked, they had hearkened to their forefathers' commandments. And so he brought the Babylonians upon the Israelites, but he said that from this point forward, these people are always going to have the upper edge on the Israelites, because of the least they do is obey their forefathers' command. And that's got a lot to do with our predicament today. The reason why we at the bottom of the food chain, because he raised these people up over us right here. Because it is, the men of Judah and the Israelites was disobedient and hard-headed and stiff-necked. Okay, so with that being said, I want to pick up in 1 Samuel chapter 2 Samuel chapter 6. And this right here this guy here, the Most High. The reason I'm reading it is that to show you that it's that wicked seed, and that the Most High has nothing whatsoever to do with them. But he also shows you by his actions that we all ain't come from the same place, and we ain't all one blood. So it says right here in 1 Samuel chapter 6. Yeah, I'm going to go to 1 Samuel. Let me see what I need to do. 1 Samuel chapter 6. What's going on is that the Philistines had taken the ark of God from the Israelites. And the Most High was killing them, because they was trying to look into the ark, and the Most High was killing them. So they got a group of men together, and then they took those. They put the ark on a cart and put oxen on it, and they brought it to the outside the outskirts of the borders of Israel and told the Israelites to come and pick it up. And so they went and picked it. Let me see. He told them they returned it. So what I'm picking up in 1 Samuel chapter 7 when they went to go. David and went to go get the ark. And so I'm in chapter 7 of 1 Samuel verse 1. And the men of Karakun, which is this place right here, is the name of the city of Jerusalem before it became Jerusalem. This is one of the times they named the city after him. He came and fetched up the ark of the Lord and brought it into the house of Abinadab, which is Abinadab is akin to Jonadab, which is akin to Hedad. So it says, and Abinadab says came and brought into the house of Abinadab in the hills and sanctified his son to keep the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass while the ark abode in Karakun that the time was long, for it was 20 years. And all the house of Israel laminated after the Lord. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel, saying, if ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only, he will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines. Then the children of Israel did put away Balaam and Ashtaroth and serve the Lord. And Samuel said, gather all Israel to Mizpah, and I will pray for you unto the Lord. And they gathered together to Mizpah and drew water and poured it out before the Lord and fasted on that day and said there, we have sinned against the Lord. And Samuel judged the children of Israel in Mizpah. Okay, and so 7. And when the Philistines heard, so when the Philistines heard that the children of Israel were gathered together in Mizpah, the Lord of the Philistines went up against the Israelites. And when the children of Israel heard it, they were afraid of the Philistines. Okay, so I want to go to 2 Samuel chapter 6. Hold up, let me get this right. 2 Samuel chapter. Yeah, so I'm in 2 Samuel chapter 6. And what they left the Ark of God in let me get it right there. Okay, so what happened is they went to they left the Ark of God in the house of on their way from bringing the ark from where the Philistines had left it. I'm picking up in chapter 6. Says, and David gathered together all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000, and David arose and went with all the people that were with him from Baalah, Judah, to bring against the ark of God, whose name was called Lord of Hosts, that dwelleth between the cherubims. And they set the ark of God upon a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab, that was in Gilead, and Uzi and Ahio, the son of Abinadab, drove the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was in Gilead, accompanying the ark of God. And Ahio went before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel played before the Lord on all manner of string instruments and fir wood, even harps, and on pastries, and on timbrels, and cornets, and cymbals. And when they came to Nahum's threshing floor, Uzi put forth his hand to the ark of God and touched hold of it, for the oxen shook it. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzi, and God smote him there for his error, and there he died by the ark of God. And David was displeased because the Lord had made a breach upon Uzi, and he called it the name of the place Perezah Uzzah for this day. And David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, how shall the ark of the Lord come to me? So now because the Most High had killed, they bringing the ark out of Abinadab's house, his wicked man's house, and they're on their way to bring it to Jerusalem. But one of David's friends it's a commandment that you can't touch the ark. You can't do nothing with it at all. That's what he was killing a bunch of Philistines because of that. And so now this guy, David's best friend, laid his hand on him, and the Most High killed it. So now David is afraid of the Most High. And so in 2 Samuel 6 and verse 10, it says, so David would not remove the ark of the Lord unto the city of David, but David carried it aside into the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite. And verse 11 says, and the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite, 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed and all his household. And it was told David, saying, the Lord hath blessed the house of Obed Edom and all that pertaineth unto him, because the ark of God. So David went forth and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed Edom into the city of David with gladness. So Obed Edom is an Israelite. He's a righteous man. So because David was afraid of him after he killed his friend, David didn't bring the ark all the way into to Jerusalem. He put it in this Israelite house, and the Most High blessed it, blessed his whole household. So David, in a sense, got jealous. So he said, no, he got to get it out of there and bring it to Jerusalem, because for his house to stay blessed. And so my point is this: if you go back to 1 Samuel chapter 7, yeah, 1 Samuel chapter 7, you'll see that it was in this man Obed's house for 2 years. Let me read that right quick. So chapter 7, 1 Samuel chapter 7, verse 1. And the men of Kirkum came and fetched up the ark of the Lord and brought in the hills and sanctified Eleazar the son to keep the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, while the ark abode in Kirkum, that the time was long, for over 20 years, and all the house of Israel laminated over the Lord. So it was in this man Abinadab's house for 20 years. And ain't nothing happened. He ain't getting nothing. So the Most High telling you something. This man's house wasn't blessed. The ark was there 20 years. But when David put it in Obed Edom house, in 2 Samuel 6 and 11, it says that the ark of the Lord continued in the house of Obed Edom, the Gittite, 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed Edom and all his household, 12. And it was told King David, and the Lord hath blessed the house of Obed Edom and all that pertains unto him, because the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed Edom into the city of David with gladness. So we see right here, when you write about this, the Most High is telling you that, there's some wicked people on earth, because the ark was in this dude's house for 20 years. And then he also left a Levite there with the ark. And his house wasn't blessed, but Obed Edom's house was blessed. Okay? So, with that understanding, I want to go to Genesis chapter 18. And I want to, like I was saying in the previous video, part 1 was that the book of Genesis talks about Sodom, that it was wicked and all that, but it don't expound on the fact of what they were doing that made it so wicked. So I'm gonna go to Genesis 18, and then from there I'm gonna go to Japheth. And Japheth, the difference in Genesis King James Bible and Genesis is that in the book of Japheth, it tells you exactly what they were doing, so you can reference it to today and gauge everything. So Genesis chapter 18, it says, you get it. Genesis 18 verse, okay, it says, 18 and 16. It says, and the men rose up from this and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? See, that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great. Remember that cry. He said, and said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, right? Which is come up to me. Remember that. And if not, I will know. So that's all they tell us in the King James Bible about Sodom and Gomorrah. It don't really expound on it. And then you go to Genesis 19, starting at verse 4, it gives you a little more. It says, but before they lay down the men of city, even the men of Sodom, come past the house round about, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have two daughters which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes, only unto this man do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he needs to be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them? And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. Okay, so we see right here, they tell us a little bit, but they really don't expound on the wickedness of the what's really going on in Sodom, that the Most High sent his 3 angels to destroy. And so now what I want to do is go to Japheth chapter 19, because Japheth chapter 19 expounds on the fact that what was going on in Sodom. So, okay, I'm in Japheth 19, and I'm going to pick it up in verse 1. Japheth 19 and 1. And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges for 4 cities, and these were the names: Sirach in the city of Sodom, Shakad in Gomorrah, Zaphnath in Edom, and Menon in Zeboim. And Eleazar, Abraham's servant, applied to them different names, and he converted Sirach to Shekharah, and Shekad to Shua, and Zaphnath to Kezabim, and Menon to Mazaladim. Okay, and then 3. And by desire of their 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the city. So he expounded on the fact of what they were doing. It says, verse 3, and by desire of the 4 judges, the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets, and if a man came to these places, they laid hold of him and brought him to one of these beds, and by force made him to lie in them. And as he lied down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed. And if a man was less than the bed, these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them, they would not answer him. And if he was longer than the bed, they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end until the man had reached the gate of death. And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, or the Most High told Abraham that the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah came up to him. Well, we see right here what they're doing to these people. And in the pain of death, these people crying out. So they keep killing them one by one, or righteous people, good people, and they crying out. So verse 8, and when a poor man came into their land, they would give him silver and gold and cause a proclamation in the city not to give him a morsel of bread to eat. And if the stranger should remain there some days and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given him. And those that could recognize the silver or the gold which they had given him took it back, and at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbors took them. And they would come and bring him under some of the scrubs in the desert. So they did all days to anyone that came to them and died in their land. And in the course of time, Sarah went to see Lot and inquire after him. So this Eliezer is the same, is a servant of Abraham's household. He's the same one that went and got Rebekah for Abraham for Isaac to marry. Okay, and so verse 12. So now Sarah has sent him to go check on Lot. He says verse 12 on Japheth 19 and 12. And Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. And the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. And the poor man cried to Eliezer and supplicated his favor on account of what the men of Sodom had done to him. And he said to him, why doest thou act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? And the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, is this man thy brother? Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? So let's look at that. So let me read it again. 12 says, and Eliezer went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger. Oh, let me go down some. 15. Japheth 19 and 15. And the men of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, is this man thy brother? Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge in this day, and that thou speakest about this man? So we're going to see right here, we're going to connect the dots, because if you go back to Genesis chapter 4, right? Genesis chapter 4, and we see that Genesis chapter 4, verse 8, and he says, and Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and killed him, slew him. Now, Cain know that he didn't kill his brother, and he know that that's wicked. He went and hid him in his body and buried him. And then the Lord came, and verse 4 and 9, Genesis 4 and 9 says, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So now let's go back over here to Japheth and see what this man did. Just killed a man in front of Eliezer, and Eliezer asked him in verse 15. And the man of Sodom, 14, Eliezer said unto him, why doest thou act thus to the poor man who came to thy land? And 15, and the man of Sodom answered Eliezer, saying, is this man thy brother? So he replied the same way Cain did. He had no remorse. So look at this. Or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? And Eliezer strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man. And when Eliezer approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened and with a stone smote Eliezer in the forehead. Same thing Cain did. 17. And the blood flowed copiously from Eliezer's forehead. And when the man saw the blood, he caught hold of Eliezer, saying, give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in thy forehead. For such is the custom and the law in our land. So we see the way this man is acting is law in their land. Well, we know the Most High have laws too, but they contrary to these laws. That's why when the Israelites came out of Egypt, he told them, don't deal with those other people, don't deal with their laws, with their statutes, with their judgments, or with their wisdom, or with their understanding. Because, like I said, we see now we got some people that have laws and statutes that's contrary to the Most High laws and statutes. They're the very opposite, because he tells us that a man and two men can't lie together. But these people in Sodom, it's okay. Mm-hmm. They law it's good. So, verse 18 of chapter 19 of Japheth. And Eliezer said to him, thou hast wounded me, and required me to pay thee thy hire. And Eliezer would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. And the men laid hold of Eliezer and brought him to Shecra, the judge of Sodom, for judgment. And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee, my lord, thus has this man done. For I smote him with a stone that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. So he expecting this man to pay him for wrapping him upside the head. So how wicked is this? So 21, and the judge said to Eliezer, this man speaketh truth to thee. Judge, now look what the judge did. He going along with it. This man speaketh truth to thee. Give him his hire. Well, this is the custom of our land. And Eliezer heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge. And the stone struck him on his forehead, and the blood flowed conspicuously from the forehead of the judge. And Eliezer said, if this then is the custom in your land, give thou us this man what I should have given him, for this has been thy decision. Thou didst decree it. So Eliezer wrapped him upside the head. Since he told him, since this is the custom of the land, he wrapped the judge upside the head with a stone. Okay? Now, verse 22. And Eliezer left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. And when the kings of Elam had made war with the kings of Sodom, the kings of Elam captured all the property of Sodom and took Lot captive with his property. And when it was told to Abraham, he went and made war with the kings of Elam, and he recovered from their hands all the property of Lot as well as the property of Sodom. So what I just read is we see what they did in the scriptures, because right here we see that in Genesis chapter 18. Let me look at it. In Genesis chapter 19, verse 15, we see that's the same thing when Lot was kidnapped and Abraham went and delivered him. Well, we see it right here. This is right line upon line, precept upon precept. But they left a lot out. They took a lot out in Genesis in the King James Bible. So now I told you that the Lord told Abraham in Genesis 18 that he came to meet him, and he told him that he's going to have a son. Sarah was going to have a son, and he's going to return to him 9 months later, and Sarah was going to have a son, named him Isaac. But he also told him that he was on his way to Sodom, to destroy Sodom, because the cry from Sodom that came up to heaven. So they don't explain it to you in the King James Bible, but I'm going to read this right here, show you what happened. Verse 24 of Japheth 19. At that time, the wife of Lot bore him a daughter, and he called her name pt2, saying, because God hath delivered him and his whole household from the kings of Edom. And pt2, daughter of Lot, grew up, and one of the men of Sodom took her for a wife. And a poor man came into the city to seek maintenance, and he remained in the city for some days. And all the people of Sodom called the proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. So they thing is not to feed the people. When somebody come in, they ain't gonna feed them. They want them to die so they can rob them of all their goods. So, but this one pt2, Lot, is a Hebrew, and so they righteous. These people that's in Sodom is wicked. They come from Cain's seed, and we're gonna see that. So 26 says, pt2, the daughter of Lot, saw this man lying in the street, starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive, and he was just at the point of death. And her soul was filled with pity on account of the man, and she fed him secretly with bread for many days, and the soul of this man was revived. For she went forth to fetch water. She would put the bread or water in a pitcher, and when she came to the place where the poor man was, she took the bread from the pitcher and gave it him to eat. So she did many days. And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah wondered how this man could bear starvation for so many days. I mean, look at that, how wicked that is. They watching and won't feed the man, and just watching and waiting to see when he's going to die. Okay, 30. And they said to each other, this can only be that he eats and drinks, for no man can bear starvation for so many days or live as this man has without even his countenance changing. And 3 men concealed themselves in a place where the poor man was stationed to know how it was that brought him bread to eat. And pt2, the daughter of Lot, went forth that day to fetch water, and she put bread in the pitcher of water, and she went to draw water by the poor man's place, and she took out the bread from the pitcher and gave it to the poor man, and he ate it. And the 3 men saw what pt2 had did to the poor man, and they said to her, it is thou then who has supported him, and therefore has he not starved, nor changed in appearance, nor died like the rest. And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized pt2 and the bread which was in the poor man's hand, and they took pt2 and brought her before the judges. And they said to them, thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread. Therefore did he not die all this time? Now therefore declare us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed the law. See that? This law they got in Sodom is the very opposite of the laws of God. The law of God says feed the hungry and feed the poor and watch the widow, provide for the widow. These people doing just the opposite. 35. And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the streets of the city, and they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. And in the city of Ada there was a woman to whom they did delight. For a traveler came into the city of Ada to abide there all night with the intentions of going home in the morning. So we see that the same thing happen to us. The same thing happening in these 5 cities is happening to us today. We just go to the store and expect them to go back home safely and get shot down in the street, or get ran over, or get kidnapped. So we see now Sodom and Gomorrah, and they're doing the same thing in America that they did in Sodom and Gomorrah. So 37. For a traveler came into the city of Ada to abide there all night with the intentions of going home in the morning. And he sat opposite the door of the house of the young woman's father to remain there. And the sun had set when he had reached that place. And the young woman saw him sitting by the door of the house. And he asked her for a drink of water. And she said to him, who art thou? And he said to her, I was this day going on the road and reached here when the sun set. So I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey. And the young woman went in the house and fetched the man's bread and water to eat and drink. And And this affair became known to the people of Ada, and they assembled and brought the young woman before the judge that they should judge her for this act. And the judge said, the judgment of death must be put upon this woman because she has transgressed our law, and this therefore is a decision concerning her. And the people of the city assembled and brought out the young woman and anointed her with honey from her head to her toe, as the judge had decreed. And they placed her before a swarm of bees, which were then in their hive. And the bees flew upon her and stung her that her whole body was swelled. And the young woman cried. This is what the Lord of hosts told Abraham. The cry from Sodom is what brought him there. And the young woman cried out on account of the bees. But no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries ascended to heaven. There it is right there. These cries that the Most High heard. Say, and 44, and the Lord was provoked at this, and at all the works of the cities of Sodom, for they had abundance of food. Listen to this. They had abundance of food and the tranquility among them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy. And in those days, their evil doings and sins became great before the Lord. So we see right the same thing going on now on the earth. You got 2% of the people own all the money, and half of the world starving. Got little kids on TV with big old stomachs. Their stomach is swollen up because they ain't got no food. But you got men that got all the money that can feed them, but they won't. And so we see now why they won't feed them, because they got laws contrary to the Most High law. Most High say feed people. They say no, don't feed them and starve to death. And we're going to hoard up all the wealth. And so we know that this none other than Cain's seed, which is Japheth, which came right through the flood. Like we discussed in part 1 of this. You can't get around it. Okay, so 45 say, and the Lord sent for 2 of his angels that had come to Abraham's house to destroy Sodom and its cities. See that? And so to pinpoint this, to let you know, people hollering about that we always need these 66 books. Well, let's look at this. 46. And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent. See, now he's bringing us right back on point in the Bible. It says, Abraham wrote, in Genesis 18 says, and the Lord appeared unto Abraham in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the door of his tent. Right? And here's the day. 46 over here in Japheth says, and the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent. Come on. After they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sodom in the evening, and Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom, and when he saw them, he rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself to the ground. This is line upon line. Precept upon precept. Genesis 19, verse 1. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. Same thing. You get that. In King James, they left out a bunch of it because the New Testament is JC. They don't want you to know what's going on in Sodom. So with that being said, let me read Genesis 19 in the Bible, King James Bible, Genesis 19, 1 through, I read that 1 through 3, and then I was going to read 4 through 14 in Genesis 19 of King James Bible. Says, now I already read that. So in closing out, I want to show you. I want to put a cap on this by going to Ezekiel 38. So we see that we had a tubal Cain in Genesis chapter 4, verse 16. In Genesis chapter 4 of King James Bible, and then we had after the flood we had a tubal Cain and Japheth lineage. And so now, and I showed you that in Jasher how that Tubal, the daughters of Tubal, is the daughters that was in Genesis chapter 6, that the angel came down and slept with. And so all this link and show you that Cain, descendants came all the way through the flood, and they was on the ark, and they got off the ark. And now we're going to Genesis. We're going to Ezekiel chapter 38, and which ain't happened yet. There's a prophecy in waiting. And let's look and see if the Most High like these people or if he don't like them. And or if they part of his people. Or if he brought them in with power. So chapter 38, verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against God in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach, and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So let me read that again, and I'm going to close with this. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth all thy army, horsemen and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor. Okay? Even a great company with bucklers and shields. So what's so significant about that? Well, let's go back to Genesis. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 22. And Zillah, she also bore Tubal Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and his sister Tubal Cain was Naomi. So we see right here, they got bucklers and shields and iron and swords. Well, that's what the Most High, that's what the angel, the Satan showed Tubal Cain way back in the beginning how to become an ironsmith and how to fashion iron and how to make instruments of war and how to make mail and all that, sword and shield. And here they go right here in Ezekiel 38 and 4. Cain descended. So we just walked through here two videos on showing you that Japheth is definitely not Noah's son, but he's just the opposite. He's Cain's descendant that the Most High has been dealing with from the time Cain was conceived in the garden till the day. And so with that being said, anybody got any questions?
This is Jeanette.
Okay.
Is it possible at all that Yaina will let you teach one whole lesson and let you walk? She ain't gonna allow that.
No, ain't gonna happen. No, I don't think. What I was thinking about was, like I was saying, the stuff she do pertaining to me. Like I said, you can't alter my image as far as you ain't gonna make me throw me off. So right. The thing is, I was saying that maybe called out for the show or something, and even if nothing don't happen, but reach out and say, what's the deal,
Yeah. And I'll be willing to do that, because my thing is this, and I would ask her, has she ever listened to one of your videos and followed it and went to the scriptures and found it to be wrong?
So anybody else we're going to talk about this. I'm going to cut this recording off first.
Oh, okay.
So anybody got anything else?
No, I'll wait for you to cut off the recording.
Okay, all right.
Good teaching.
Yes, very good. Absolutely.
I'm interested in the answer